Hi everyone. So we will discuss ratios. Basic concept, but very important. And some concepts of ratios are misunderstood by a lot of students, right? So we all know how do we represent ratio is A is to B or A divided by B. Okay. So before going any further, I want you guys to try this question because this has a major point that has to be made in solving the ratio questions. So you can pause the video and try this. Okay. If A is to B is 2 is to 3, which one is greater? Now, are we all clear that there can be lot of values of A and B which can bring us this ratio, right? Which can get this ratio 2 is to 3. So let us list down those values, okay? So one such value is 2 and 3 directly. Basic. If A is 2 and B is 3 becomes 2 is to 3. Or if A is 4, B is 6, you can think of values. Now let's say A can be 20 and B can be 30. So like this, if you see, there can be infinite values. Infinite values which will give same ratio, 2 is to 3. Okay, so you must have thought of some of these. Can I say negative 2 and negative 3 will also give the same ratio, or negative 20 and negative 30? Now, if you see over here, in the first case scenario that B is greater than A, second case B is greater than A, third case B is greater than A, good. Most of you would have thought because B corresponds to the larger number, so B has to be greater than A. Now, between negative 2 and negative 3, which one is greater? You all know that negative 2 is greater than negative 3. Similarly, negative 20 is greater than negative 30. How is this possible? Because B corresponds to larger value, right? So this is very important to understand. A lot of students either don't know or they skip this point, that unless and until further information is given. So make a note of this. Unless and until further information is given, you can never decide, okay, which ratio is greater. You have to have further information. So how do we solve ratio questions? Coming to the most important point, how to solve is you will assume, or rather always assume. I assume this 100% and I get 100% correct in all ratio questions, right? Always assume the values. In this case, how I would have assumed is that A is 2 times a constant and B is 3 times a constant. The same constant, right? K is a constant, but most importantly, it can be a positive or a negative constant. Now, K being positive or negative will decide which one is greater. If K is positive, B is greater. If K is negative, A is greater. So that's why what's the safest way? And this is how the exam will trap you. Okay. So how to come out of this trap? Just assume the values always. Okay. Don't go thinking that the constant is positive or negative unless there is no further information given. Now we'll see how assuming these values constant can solve the question so easily. If A is to B is 5 is to 8 and the sum of A and B So they will always give you a condition to find that constant. That is for sure, right? So what values that will assume A corresponds to 5 and B corresponds to 8. And the condition given is the sum of A and B is 104. So I'll not think, I'll just substitute and solve for the constant. So divide by 13, and if you solve, you get this is 8. Find the value of A. A is 5k. It's as simple as that. I know few of you would tell, so it's quite easy. If you want value of A, you just do this 5 upon 5 plus 8 multiplied by the total. You'll get the same thing. Yes, I agree. This will work on the basic questions, but if you want the same kind of ease in higher level questions, you got to adopt to this method, because this applies to all levels of questions. So the choice is yours. Okay, I'll leave that choice to you. We'll solve one more question. In a certain office, the ratio of men to women is, okay, so the ratio of men to women is 3:4. So let's say the current ratio is men and women. So I'll take the values as 3k and 4k. That's the first thing I'll always do. If 10 men were added to the office, so this is an hypothetical situation. If 10 men were to be added, the number of men would be 3k plus 10, and women are still the same. So the ratio of this would be 7:6. So they have given a condition to find the value of k. They're saying if 10 men were added, this ratio would become 7/6. Here we need not assume values because it is given to find the value of k. Now we can cross multiply and find the value of k. So 3k into 6, 10 into 6, 7 into 4k. So bring 18k to the other side. I get 16 is equal to 10k. Divide by 10 both sides. So k is 6. How many men and women total currently in the office? So total men and women are 3k plus 4k. So it's 7k, which is 7 times 6, which is 42. Yeah. Okay. I need not think anything. Just assume the value and solve the condition. You get the value of k. You'll get the answer. Okay. One last question. Jim needs to mix a solution in the following ratio: 1 part bleach for every 4 parts of water. That means bleach is 1 part, water is 4 parts. Okay. So the ratio of bleach to water is 1:4. Immediately I'll assume the bleach is 1k, or which is just k, and water is 4k. See, I'm not even going ahead. I'm just stopping there, reading the sentence, assuming, and then going to the next statement. When mixing the solution, or while mixing the solution, Jim makes mistake and mixes in half as much bleach as he ought to have. So by mistake, what is the quantity Jim has mixed? He mixed half of the bleach. So bleach is not k but k upon 2. And nothing is given about water, so water is 4k only. Remember, they have only talked about the bleach being half. The total solution consists of 18 ml. Okay, so this total, which is bleach plus water, is 18 ml. So again, the condition is given to find the value of k. So common denominator, multiply and divide by the denominator of the other fraction. So 2 on numerator I get k plus 8k, which is 18. What do we have here? 9k upon 2 is 18. We know that 9 and 18 gets cancelled. K upon 2 is 2 or k is 4. And what are they asking? How much ml did Jim put into the solution? So how much did he put? Actually, he put this plus this, right? Okay, there is some mistake. How much bleach, right? There must be how much bleach in ml did Jim put into the solution? The amount of bleach is k upon 2, which is 4 upon 2, which is 2 ml. Okay, so excuse me for the question. How much bleach is the question? So this is how you can solve ratio questions quite comfortably, just assuming the values. So I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.